everybody. Welcome to yet another edition of the XP Billionaires podcast, your source for RPG fun and silliness. Sometimes news, but not really our thing. I just like to talk about RPGs a lot. So, welcome to the show. My name is Rafe Thegrim. I am joined by Sky Knight and the Mel Zerker. Oh, let's say hello to these wonderful people. Sky, how are you doing today?
Oh, I am great.
That was almost Tony the Tiger great, and I love it.
Well, I do try.
And Mel, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I have a fresh cup of tea, and you can't really beat that on a gorgeous day like today.
That's true. I was actually outside getting my patio all cleaned up, so maybe someday it will be used with more than just two people, but we'll see how that goes. All right. So, yeah, I am in a pretty excited mood today because I get to make a very fun announcement. Last month, we said that we made some updates to our website, which was xpbillionaireswordpress.com. Well, that is no longer the case because we now have a domain. We have updated our website yet again. Sky has been thoroughly sleepless in getting it done. I can assure you of that.
Yes, I have.
But we are now available at xpbillionaires.ca. I also want to thank Mel for helping us get that all set up, getting us the domain, getting all that figured out for us. We really appreciate the work that you guys have put in. So,
yeah, we're professional now. It's serious.
Woo-hoo!
Absolutely.
You don't own us anymore, WordPress.
That's right. We are getting one step closer to being awesome. As awesome as we were, we're now just that much more awesome. I think I'm using the word awesome too much, but I don't care. It's really awesome. On that note, let's get started with this week's episode. And surprise to you all, we're going to a top 3 episode. I'm super excited. It's been a while since we've done one, and I really like this top 3 that we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing today is the top 3 methods of breaking a game. Now, these will be specific examples that we've chosen, but honestly, if there's one thing that makes me feel good when I'm playing an RPG, it's finding a way to just absolutely break the game, without exploiting bugs, of course, finding that best combo or, the perfect party synergy. It's so satisfying to figure that out. We found a lot of them in RPGs, and I thought we'd share some of our favorites this week. And we're going to start things off with our number 3 choices, of course. Sky, you are going first. Let's hear your number 3.
Okay, so my number 3 is from, appropriately, Suikoden 3, Don't Act Surprised. And it is the character of Juan. Now, there's a combination of things with Juan that can turn him into what initially appears to be a borderline useless unit to the god of fisticuffs. So here's what you do. The problem with Juan is that he has an unremovable waking rune attached, which means he starts every battle asleep. But when he wakes up, he goes into berserk status. However, that means he has to get hit. So it's a huge pain in the ass. So here's how you fix him. The yellow scarf accessory. So you can null the sleep status. You can also use the turtle tunic in the very early game, but it's a crappy armor, so I don't recommend that for very long. And if you want to make him even beefier, just throw a Fury rune on him when his second rune slot opens up. And max out his swing skill. Now, the swing skill in Suikoden 3, it gives them more swings when they attack. So, 2 attacks, 3 attacks, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 8 with Juan. You max out a swing skill. I can't remember, you might need something else to boost that up to max, but if you do that, you have one of the best fighters in the game. And then you can pair him with Emily, who's basically a less complicated version of him, and raffle stomp everything in the game. So, yeah, that's Juan.
Yeah, Juan is really interesting. I really liked the concept of the swing skill in Suikoden 3. It's something I would have liked to have seen them bring back, but I'm glad it was at least there in one of the games. Like I remember just deciding to do this with Shabon, the little tiny pugilist who's maybe what, like 6, 7 years old, and she's a Kenpo master. You don't get as many hits with Shabon, but you still are going to get about 5 or 6, and you can trick her out pretty devastatingly as well. But the fact of the matter is, you're right. Juan and Emily go in there. You have your protagonist, and then you just have casters in your back row, and you're pretty much set for almost anything that throws at you. I love it.
This is basically how to have your cake and eat it too in Suikoden 3. They can do such ridiculous amounts of damage. I once took down the final boss of Suikoden 3 in about 3 to 4 turns, and they were part of that formula.
Yeah, it was devastating and awesome. Just again, I'm using that word, but just awesome. All right, Mel, what is your number 3 choice?
Well, first off, I love Sleepy Boy. What a great solution to a very sleepy boy. I'm gonna reveal a little bit about how I sometimes play games in my answer. So I'm gonna talk about Fire Emblem Three Houses, which I finished, I don't know, a couple months ago. My favorite combo is just taking like me, Dimitri, and Felix out into a battle and just destroying everything that comes near us. So you can have your party of 8, and, different sizes. I love just being a brute wall of power that just destroys things. Sure, they get hit, but if you can one shot everything, you just feel so powerful. So that's my not quite combo, which is just beat the crap out of it with the strongest characters you have.
Yeah, they're high physical units, say.
Yeah, yeah. And then depending, like you can do cool stuff where you can give them like distance weapons, although you have your super whip sword that allows you to get good distance as well.
Love
Um,
that sword.
yeah, and set Felix up as like an assassin, you get some good movement speed. Yeah, yeah. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, with that grouping, you went with oh God,
Blue
I can't remember.
Lions?
Blue Lions. Thank
Blue
you.
Lions. I
Yeah,
did. I have played it twice. I also played it as Yellow Deer. I haven't played the expansion yet, but like I don't know. I liked all the characters in the Blue Lions, but also they tend to be more melee focused, and that's generally my preference in games. Yeah, can't be just laying the smack down.
so if you want to play it brute force wise, then Blue Lions is the way to go.
Yeah, yeah. The Edelgard's house is more kind of casters, and Claude really loves his range stuff. There's a bit of a mix in every house, but you
Yeah,
definitely get the more like fancy boys. They're also the rich kids, which, is what it is.
yeah. The when I played it through, I've only played it through once, and I did Black Eagles, so Edelgard, and yeah, actually, it is a pretty good mix. There's a number of good casters, but there are also some really good melee units in that house as well. I mean, Edelgard and her giant ass axe.
Yeah, I am a sucker for the axe wielding ladies in that game. Like I really love, oh, who is he? It's the Yellow Deer kind of second in command, Hilda. I love Hilda.
Yeah.
Where she's just like a heavy axe wielder, and like I made her like the biggest tank, but she's always just like, I don't want to do it. Can you do it for me? And I'm like, no. And she'll say okay, and then she'll kill everyone.
Awesome. Oh, awesome.
All right, let's move on to my number 3. Now, my number 3 takes me back to my competitive Pokemon days. It was one of the 2 really fun pairings that I liked to do with double battles, and that was using Venusaur and Charizard. So this was a lot of fun, but it has to be under the right circumstances. First off, Venusaur itself needs to have the hidden ability Chlorophyll, which will double its speed during bright sunlight. Once you use a skill like Sunny Day, which either of them can learn, you boost up not only Venusaur's speed, but Charizard's fire attacks get beefed up as well. So you use Venusaur as the support unit. If there's a huge threat, you have them do something like Sleep Powder. have him put the enemy Pokemon to sleep. Meanwhile, Charizard just raffle stomps. Use him to Mega Evolve and let him just go straight on to the kill. This is what I was doing back in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I haven't even bothered to look at the current competitive formats right now, but I had a lot of fun using this pair. It was effective a good amount of the time, but that it was a really, really good and strong team. So you could really kind of just get a quick win if you did things just right, if everything moved in your favor. It was great.
Yeah, I do not have the patience for competitive Pokemon, but that's a pretty awesome combo.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There was a couple of really good things. I mean, a lot of the times, other than this, I would probably try to just solo as much as I could with Mega Kangaskhan because I absolutely loved that. But these two were just this great little team. It was a classic touch on a more modern video game setting, so I just thought it was kind of neat in that regard. But because it wasn't as broken as some of the other things that I've got on here, it got my number 3 spot. So let's move on and let's get to our number 2s. So, Sky, you have a number 2 for me, I believe.
Yes, I do. Now, really, my number 2 and my number 1 are pretty interchangeable. But for the number 2, I'm going with my classic Shadow Hearts Covenant and Corando. I have spoken in the past of breaking Corando, and now you're going to get the detailed version because I looked up all the names of stuff that I had forgotten. So here's the detailed version. Initially, Corando only comes with one demon form that he can transform into, Tsukiyomi. But later in the second disc, you get the option to unlock another one. And that's Jutendoji, who's very much physical ogre beat stick type of form for him. Basically Rage Incarnate. Get this form. It's important because the whole goal here is to make Corando's physical attacks as busted as possible. As many as possible, as strong as possible. So, once you have a Jutendoji, you then use the Judgment Ring manipulation items. Now, in Shadow Hearts, you have the ring where you have to hit the sections on it. It goes around in a circle, and you have to hit sections on it to successfully do attacks, right? So you use the manipulation items to make the attack zones that you have to hit as wide as possible. You want the ring to have more hit area than not hit area, basically. The final piece of the puzzle is equipping him with the accessory Mind's Eye, which gives you ×2 damage on him, but makes the Judgment Ring hit areas invisible. So by the time you're able to do this, your own muscle memory, plus the fact that the ring is more hit area than not, should allow you to hit each area on the ring anyway for ludicrous damage on standard attacks. And for a bonus, if you're using Lucia, have her use Night Oil on each turn to turn every hit into a critical. And that spreads to the whole party. Night Oil is basically every standard attack is a crit for a turn. I destroyed the final boss with this combo. It's pretty crazy. Now, technically, I could do this on the main character, Yuri, but Yuri's broken enough as it is. So I thought, why not? Let's just tech out Corando and have a good time. And it was awesome.
Yeah, Corando's thing was really devastating. I think his physical stat might have been a little bit higher, and I think it was a better choice regardless to go with Corando. Not only that, but in situations like the final boss fight, for example, if you've picked up items like the 5th keys or the 7th keys, normally the Judgment Ring will only do one rotation when you attack. Those keys will add extra spins. It'll just get a little faster and faster every time you go around. So there's also an infinite key, which you use once and it will go until you miss. And I remember you doing that the last time you played the game and went for the final boss. You infinite keyed, and that probably went around 8 to 10 times. I think the final boss went down in it was 3 turns or less.
Yeah, it was absurd. That game is so breakable with certain items, and like the mind's eye is it accessory is something that can be easily overlooked. But when I saw it, I was just like, I wonder if I could do this. I wonder, by that point in the game, you've got so many Judgment Ring manipulation items. I don't know what they're actually called, but they're the things that give you more hit area and more strike area, which is like the stronger version of the attack. And as it turns out, I could make it work despite not being able to see the Judgment Ring, so it was great.
Well, I can see why people would shy away from it without thinking about a strategy like this. Like to have the ring disappear completely is it's scary because you're more likely to miss on regular circumstances if you haven't done this kind of manipulation. So once you see that, people will just be like, maybe not.
That's just it. And I mean, certainly it's a strategy that really only works in the late game because of that risk factor of missing. And really at that point, like you've got so much muscle memory in terms of people's Judgment Rings that half the time it's not even just really about what you're looking at, it's just, rhythmic muscle memory. That also really helps too, and I don't think people think about that.
No, you're right. You're right. I agree. All right, Mel. I think there's a number 2 coming from you next.
There sure is. And I'm going to talk about the game I'm playing right now, which is a Persona 5 Royale. And one of my favorite improved mechanics in the game, which is Baton Pass. So if you play Persona 5, Baton Pass is really cool. Basically, you get like a critical, you hit a weakness, you do technical attack, and you get to basically give a party member an extra free turn. So it's pretty fun. You do like an actual kind of high five handoff, and it feels really stylish and gives you the sense of being part of a team. So Persona 5 Royale makes it even cooler by letting you up people's pass abilities, level those up through playing darts. So you go out with your friends, you play some darts, and in the end, what you can do is not only get leveled up boosted attacks and extra turns, you can recover HP, you can recover SP, and if you can chain your whole party together, the last person gets to use an ability at no cost. So everything is super powerful. You get this amazing feeling of coming together as a team, and you like get to heal SP and not spend SP, which is the biggest annoyance in the game is when you have to manage SP because it's so hard to get back. And it just makes it so freaking satisfying. And I love it so much.
Yeah, they really added a lot of new things in Persona 5 Royal to customize your team. Like what they've done with accessories is crazy. And tying spells to accessories allows you to put spells on your party member they wouldn't normally get. And therefore makes it easier to hit weaknesses and therefore easier to do the baton passes.
Mm-hmm, exactly. It reminds me a bit of what they did with Persona Q. So that was on, I think, the 3DS.
Yeah.
But in that one, you can do something similar where I remember I took Naoto, who I loved in 4, but never really had a use for in combat. And I made her a backup healer. And all of a sudden, it was phenomenal to have her in my party.
That little bit of added flexibility, I think, is a really positive step in terms of, you've got all the flexibility in the world when it comes to the protagonist. This isn't about him, it's about the rest of your party, right? That flexibility and additional ability to combo in Royal is just, it's so cool.
Yeah, because I mean, that's the satisfying part. Like, the best part about playing a Persona game is when you get the weaknesses, when you've got everything you need, you can just boom, 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 boom. And it's one of the reasons I think the boss battles can be a bit slow, because for the most part, they don't have weaknesses, especially later on. So you're often only engaging really with their assistants or like their minions until you just basically can hit them really, really hard. So when you do get this really cool thing where you get to build up and power up together, I think it's like real fun. Persona 5 Rail. Very well done.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to my run through right at some point, but it'll be well after Sky's done playing their run through because I'm watching most of it at this point. So I want to do things fresh once I can flush some of it out of my head. But no, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing more of what the game has to offer in that regard. All right, so let's get on to my number two. Now, my number two is a bit game breaking on the defensive side rather than the offensive side. I call this the Muppy Defense Protocol, and it comes from Manichemia, Alchemists of Alrevis. Ha, I'm talking about an Atelier game, and Sky's not. Look at that.
Shh.
All right,
Oh, it's
so
on.
little bit. But now this is just one of those great little in a pinch save mechanics that's available in an RPG. Once you learn this, if Muppy is currently not in your party, when you're about to receive an attack, you can tag him in. And before he switches with somebody, he will suck the entire party into his seemingly Gallifreyan spaceship and nullifies the damage for that attack. So if you've got a boss coming in with like a hyper really big damage combo coming in, this is a fantastic way to survive for that one extra turn that you need to either heal up or finish the job. Now the only thing with this is that Muppy is the last character you get in the game, so it does take some work before you get to the point where he can use this skill. But oh man, it's so much fun to watch just because of the animated and somewhat cartoony nature of the game itself. It's just really satisfying to watch, and it's so useful. It saved my ass so many times.
That whole switching mechanic in Manichemia is so good. Like being able to like use almost all your characters fluidly that way. You know, switching them in and out, having them have special abilities that they use when they come in and out of the party. That is something I wish more RPGs did. It makes the combat fast and fluid and interesting. And like, despite the fact you only have 3 in the front row, you're constantly switching people in and out. So really, it's like having a party of 6 almost.
Yeah, you're right. And the best part of it all is it means that no character is left behind. There is no one for you not to work on. Now they only give you a party of 6 or 7 one way or the other, but you're not leaving anyone in the dirt, which I think is great because you're in a position where everybody's useful because of this system.
Yeah, because of the switching on the fly, you can grab certain people when you need them, and when you don't need them, you use somebody else. Like, it's one of the better Atelier games for combat, definitely.
Yeah, it is. And it was really fun, really engaging, kept you on your toes. And I think that's one thing. If you can find a turn-based combat system where you can keep the player on their toes, then I think you've got a success here. All right, so we are down to one left from each of us. What has beaten everything else on our lists? Sky, you grace us with the first.
Mine is a classic. So my number one is Final Fantasy VI and decking Sabin out with the Genji glove and offering relic combo. So, like, Sabin's already incredibly amazing with his blitzes, and he's beefy, and he's great as is. But this is how you beef him up so much that he doesn't need to use his blitzes. And in fact, it's a detriment to use his blitzes because they don't do nearly as much damage. So, here's how this combination of very rare relics works. This is late game stuff here, folks. So the Genji glove basically enables dual wielding. So basically, when you hit attack, it'll be one attack with each hand, right? So 2 attacks total. The offering times 4 is every attack. End result, Sabin can attack 8 times. And if you use the various magicites throughout the game to up his strength stat, if you work hard enough, you can have Sabin doing max damage on every attack. And he does it 8 times. It's crazy busted.
It really is. Now, the one thing that I will mention with this is that boosting the strength stat with the Magicite is actually key in making this work more successfully, because even though the Genji glove offers 2 swings, like one with one hand, one with the other, there's still main hand and offhand differences. So you will actually do less damage on potentially one of the 2 swings. So by upping that to essentially whatever limit you can, you'll get to the point where it's 9,999 shots.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? If you're at the point in the game where you have this combination, chances are you're fighting the freaking dinosaurs in that little patch of forest that you use to do high-end grinding in this game.
Yeah.
And really, that's what you're going to be heading towards anyways. So, yeah. Genji glove, the offering, it's an incredible combination, and Sabin, because he's, the strength monster of the party, it's the way to go.
I will also point out too that you said that these are extremely rare relics. The offering absolutely is. The Genji glove is actually can be given to you fairly early on in the game. Remember, at one point, just before you make the Terra makes the choice to join the Returners, Bannon gives you a choice. You can have the Genji glove or the Gauntlet as a gift.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah, so there is a way to get that one early on.
Yes,
The offering is much harder.
that it is.
Yeah. And I mean, it times 4 is every attack. So, like, are we surprised? No.
All right. Our next number 1 comes from Mel. What has topped your list?
So again, I stuck with games I've been playing fairly recently. So Octopath Traveler, and this is one of those few games where I actually chose a party that all works together, because I don't find the combat my favorite part of that game. So I was really trying to find a way to blow things up fast. So basically, my combo is the combination of Tressa, Elfin, and Cyrus, and then kind of whoever in that last spot. It really depends on where I am in the fight. But basically, Cyrus is my glass cannon. He can do so much damage, it is obscene. You get to a point where you can give him abilities that let him basically double his damage. So that's pretty amazing. Well, and Tressa has this really cool ability where she can pass her power-ups to other players. So she can do little bits of damage. She can start knocking down the shields that enemies have. And then she can just pass, 3 or 4 of her bonus ups to Cyrus, who then could just destroy literally everything. Elfin I love because he's my good little all-rounder boy. He can hit just about any weakness, either through his, they're not called potions, but basically potions. And he has like a ridiculous axe attack. He has healing. So the 3 of them together can just decimate any kind of fight. And if you get the right kind of subclasses and jobs on them, like, oh, you don't even need a 4th.
Yeah, Tressa, in my opinion, is the best character in that game. She is absurd.
She's really versatile. I love her as like a thief merchant.
Yeah, actually, and I'm a firm believer in merchant being the best, at least initial class, because of its versatility, and and the fact that she has an ability to get some SP back, which is a really big deal. I had this combo with her because I had her set up as a caster with her other job, and I had her set up in a party with Ophelia, who basically gave her the ability to cast everything twice. I actually loved the combat in Traveler. I was just like, I looked at it and went, "You are very breakable."
It is very breakable. I'll give it that. Like, I think the main thing is that if you don't dig into this, like how do you break a good combo? It gets tedious. But as soon as you start getting some of those like jobs, then you're like, oh, okay, I see how this is all fitting together. I guess the main thing is like early game when you're kind of stuck with only so many people and hopefully you didn't get Ophelia early on. Just
Yeah,
hopefully you picked the right people in the right order to give yourself the flexibility to play the game in an enjoyable way.
yeah. I started with Tressa and went straight to Ulberich, who is my second favorite, and I was golden. That's a great starting crew.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, they're a pretty good combo. I started with Elfin. He's my happy little boy, and then I believe I went and got Thief Boy, who just kind of annoyed me on a personal level.
Oh, Therian?
There you
Yeah,
go, Therian.
yeah. So, yeah, Traveler. The game with combat meant to be broken.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get to the final number one of the day, afternoon, evening, whenever y'all are listening to this. My number one comes from Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, and it involves a single skill that every single member of your team has to learn, and it is called Bright Might. So this is a method of coasting through pretty much any boss fight in the game once you have access to the skill. Once you find a demon that has learns it, you just keep fusing it, repurchasing it, just passing that skill on to all of your other demons in order to get this skill on there. So what this does, it basically says that when the moon is at its fullest, any physical attacks that you do are guaranteed criticals. Now, this is vital because in the press turn system, getting criticals or exploiting weaknesses give you additional turns in combat. So, once everybody's set up with this, all you have to do is go to the door that says, "Oh, there's an extremely strong presence nearby. Do you wish to proceed?" Check the moon. If it's not full, say no. Walk around till it is, then walk into the fight. At that point, you're just smack, 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 heal. That's basically how the turns work. This makes it even better with the final boss, not counting the true demon ending final boss, where it doesn't work at all. And I can't really explain why, because that's spoilers. But the final boss itself guarantees that you're going to be in the full moon when you do that fight. So you're just guaranteed swinging physicals, going absolutely apeshit on the final boss and eating it for breakfast. It's not as, swift as some of the other ones you've heard today in terms of, 3 turns or less, but it is ridiculously fast and immensely satisfying and almost impossible to lose based on that.
Yeah, it's good. Better if you're not going true demon ending, though.
Yeah. But in the end, it's only one skill on each of the demons compared to the 8 that they all have by this point. So it's not the worst thing in the world to go true demon ending, get through the easy stuff. You still shouldn't have too much trouble with the true demon ending final boss.
Well, yeah, because then you're tanked out with shit like Metatron and
One would hope you took the time to fuse for him, yeah.
and all the leveling you have to do to even have a chance. Like, so the level cap in Nocturne shows 99, but you can actually level past it. I remember being over like 110 in actual levels is recommended, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's been so long, it's hard to remember for sure. But it was pretty intense that you made it that far. So, and I still commend you for being able to do it.
Hey, I still needed your help with Dante, so there you go.
Only for the running around stuff. That was it. But anyway, all right. So those are our top 3 broken combos available in RPG gaming. So I know there's going to be way more than just these out there. So if you've got one that you want to share with us, send me a message. Let me know about it. You can find me on Twitter at BillionairesXP, or you can check out some of my photos on Instagram at Rafe Thegrum. Sky, where can everyone find you?
I'm at SkyKnightXP on Twitter and SkyKnight.xp on Instagram.
And Mel, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram at FeministGamer or on Twitter at FeministGamer3. I also GM a D&D actual play podcast, Darkness and Dragons. We're live every Wednesday at 6:30. We're actually recruiting for season 2 right now, so if you're interested, get in touch. We already have 120 applications, so that's cool. But check it out. It's really cool.
I don't envy you your tasks coming ahead.
It's so many words.
All right. And once again, don't forget to check out everything on our new website, xpbillionaires.ca. You can check out our quickfire reviews, our written features, and you'll be able to see anytime a new episode of the podcast comes out. We got more added in all the time, so definitely check that out. And lastly, don't forget to check out the May newsletter, which was available on our Ko-fi page. That's coffee.com/xpbillionaires. Feel free to donate if you're feeling generous or you like us. And if not, all we're asking and hoping for is that you spread us around, let people know that there's this great RPG podcast out there that people should check out. All right, so that's it for us this week. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, finding ways to break the game is just another fun way to keep gaming. We'll see you next week.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.